go at creating this painting, which is a concentric circle painting and a landscape painting at the same time. We're going to use some poster paint, we're going to use some just simple brushes, and we're going to learn a little bit about accuracy in paint mixing. So join me, let's give it a go. Today we're going to learn about colour mixing and how we can create concentric circles of the same tone of colour. So I've already got myself some paper, some cartridge paper here, and I've got a palette, which is basically just this plastic lid, and I've got some newspaper so that my desk is protected. I've only got two colours here. I've got some white and I've got some green, and we're going to start by adding some white to the centre of our page, and we're going to move out in concentric circles from the middle to the outside of the page, right the way to the edge of the page itself. Now to do this, I'm just going to need a simple brush. I've got a number 6 brush here. I'm going to start by just about finding the centre of my page, about there, and I'm going to paint myself just a circle. You probably won't be able to see that because it's just white onto white paper. But the first thing I'm going to do is get myself just a little bit of green, and I'm going to mix it into my white like so. Okay, just a very small amount of green to begin with. You probably won't see very much of this. Okay, I need to make sure that my brush has still got a little bit of paint on it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint another circle just around the outside like so. Now, as I move out from the page, it's going to get darker and darker because every time I'm going to add a little bit of green to what I've got here in the middle. So it gets just a little bit darker every single time I do it. Okay, so it should get a little bit darker as I move out from the page. Okay, and I'm going to do this right the way through to the edge of the paper. Okay, so the last circle I did there was green, just the darker shade of green I've got there. And I've got as far as I can get with going from lighter to darker. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to start with green, and instead of white, I'm going to add a little bit of black to the green. So it goes from lighter to darker, and now it's going to go from darker to even darker green towards the end till almost it's black by the edge. Okay, so that's going to be the next stage. So as you can see, I didn't use all of the white. I'm going to get a tiny bit of black and I'm going to add it to my green like so, just to make it that slightly darker tone. As I go forward, you can see that it's kind of getting a slightly darker sort of green. All right. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the paint off. There's quite a bit of excess paint. I'm just going to put it there, get a bit of the green, and again, just use my brush to swirl it around, all the way around my circle, like so. It's not an exact circle, don't really worry too much about that, okay? Just so that it sort of goes round it, like this. If it goes a bit more ovally, that's fine, not a big problem. Like this, and I'll just carry this on right the way to the edge of my paper. Okay, I've got as far as I can now towards the edge. There are just some corners now that I'm just going to fill just directly with black, okay? So that I've got some black just along the edge and I'm painting just off the edge of the paper. Can you see there that I haven't actually left any noticeable white gaps? There are a couple, but that's the thing. So just try to make sure that when you do your circles, you do them right up next to each other and don't leave a gap in between so that they go right up next to each other. So I'm just going to finish off these bits of black And when I've done this, I'm going to leave my painting to dry as it is. And then we're going to add some detail over the top to bring in some more of a landscape to the picture. Now that my picture is dry, I'm going to do the next couple of bits. I'm going to add some silhouettes of some trees coming down from the top down to the bottom part of my picture here. Okay, I'm going to get some black paint. And I'm going to think about doing two trees, one slightly bigger and one slightly smaller. I'm going to start by figuring out where about my tree is going to finish. So I think it's probably going to be up somewhere about here. And I'm going to paint as straight a line as I can. It's a bit wobbly. As straight a line as I can, coming down from the top of my picture, don't have too much, right the way down to around about here where the rest of my black is. I'm going to make it just a little bit wider at the bottom so it looks like an actual tree branch. And I'm going to do my smaller one over here. There. Now I can do a number of different silhouettes if I wanted to. I could do some mountains. I could do some animals, I suppose. But I'm going to go with some trees. So I'm going to paint my two trees there. And I'm going to start with the top. Using my brush, I'm going to paint off from the top some branches like this. And as they get further down, they're going to get slightly longer. Like this. Okay, so I'm going to paint my branches coming off, and they're going to get slightly longer and a bit more curved as we move down the page, like so. Okay, so that's going to be the next stage of the picture. Paint my trees on top of my painting. The last thing I'm going to do now is add some white dots to give myself some impressions of some stars. So I'm just going to use the wooden end of my brush, like so, and I'm just going to put some dots, could almost be snow I suppose, coming down like this on my picture, just to add another bit of element to the image. You could, I suppose, if you wanted to, use some white on the ends of the trees. So if you wanted to kind of add a bit of snow on the trees to make it more of a sort of wintry scene, you could do that as well. So I just had a couple of bits there to kind of give you an idea about what you could do with it. Like so. And there's my picture finished. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching.